Vendure 1.5 is out now. In this video, I'm going to take you rapidly through some of the new features and demonstrate them to you. And then at the end, we're going to talk about what comes next. That is the roadmap to Vendure 2.0. That's right, Vendure 2.0 is on the horizon. It's already in development, and I'll talk about that at the end of the video. But first of all, let's take a look at what's new in 1.5. First of all, we have a couple of security features. The first of which is the new password validation strategy. That's a new option in the auth options which allows you to set a policy for how passwords can be defined for new customers or new administrators. For example, you might want to enforce a minimum character length, or that passwords must contain certain characters and so on. This can now be done using this password validation strategy. In your auth options, specify password validation strategy. You can use the default, which is exported from Vendure core. This allows you to easily set a minimum length or a regular expression. If you have more complex requirements, for example, you have to check asynchronously with a third-party system, then this can be done with a completely custom strategy. Secondly, we have a new option in the API options, which is introspection. This is a Boolean, so it allows you to specify whether the GraphQL APIs can be introspected. By default, it's true to preserve backwards compatibility. In production, you may want to set this to false. Now, why do you want to do this? Well, there is an article which is linked in the blog post from the Apollo blog, which covers the various reasons why you should want to consider switching it off for production. So now this is possible. We can now add or remove coupon codes from an order after it has been placed using the modify order screen. I'll show you that. Here we have an order. It's come in, the payment has been settled, it's ready to fulfill. Now let's say, for example, the customer phones up and they forgot to apply a coupon code that they actually have. Well, now we can go to modify order, set coupon codes, and we can start typing here. There's one for free shipping. We'll select that. Let's add a note. When we preview the changes, we will see that we have a price difference of -$5 because the shipping is now free. We'll choose which payment method we want to refund and confirm. And now we can see that the coupon's been applied, the price has been adjusted, and we've generated a refund for the $5 shipping. Asset preview images are now really easy to access with a new feature, asset preview links. If I click this, we're able to directly open any of the built-in asset previews. Prior to this, it was quite difficult to discover the actual URL of the preview link from the backend. So now this is quite simple, and of course we can also change this and specify our own parameters. This is available from the asset gallery, and also when you're editing an asset, it's available down here at the bottom. The next feature has to do with custom field relations. In Vendure, if you make a custom field of type relation and relate it to a product or an asset or a product variant, then in the admin UI, Vendure is smart enough to show a special input component that allows you to select an asset or a product or variant. But what happens if you're relating it to a kind of entity that it doesn't know how to render an input field for? For example, here I'm defining a relation from customer to shipping method. Well, up till now, what you would see in the admin UI would be a message saying that there's no input component configured for this kind of entity. The admin UI doesn't know what to display. In 1.5, I've added a generic form input that allows you to at least enter the ID for any kind of relation custom field. I'll demonstrate that now. It looks like this. Where that custom field appears, we now see this generic selection component. It allows us to input the ID of the relation and update it. And we'll also display the properties of that entity. When refunding an order, it's possible to specify the reason for the refund. This is found here. There are two built-in presets, customer request or not available. It's also a free text input, so you can add your own reason. But there have been requests to be able to add your own presets, which is now possible. It's done like this. In the Admin UI plugin config, there's a new property, cancellation reasons, where you can add any number of presets. These can be literal strings, as you see here, or they can also be translation tokens, which will be translated against any kind of translation files that you have loaded. So if we restart the server now, and then refresh this page, if we now go to refund that order, we'll see our custom reasons come up here. It's now possible to filter the customer list by postal code. Before it was only possible by name or email, but postal code search is a very common requirement in real usage. So for example, here we can write the start of a postal code and it will filter down to Stuart. And if we look here, it picks up this address. The last new feature I want to talk about is the long-awaited Stripe integration. Thanks to great work from our community, thank you Vinicius, the Stripe implementation is now available in version 1.5. For those who don't know, Stripe is a major payment provider, much loved by developers, implements lots of payment methods in many countries around the world. Very popular choice, and we've been asked about it for a long time. So I'm very happy to announce that it's finally available. It's available as part of the payments plugin, and the instructions on how to use it are available now in the docs and the Stripe plugin. There's guidance here for installation in the backend and also how you would go about using it in the storefront. So take a look at that if you want to implement Stripe in your storefront. And now let's talk about the future. Vendure version 2.0. It's been about 10 months since the release of 1.0. In that time, we've had lots of releases, 26, I think, minor and patch releases, which represent an evolution of features and also bug fixes, refinements, performance improvements. We've now reached the stage where I'm very confident that we have a very stable, battle-tested and production-ready platform. But there are certain changes that I just can't make in version 1. The reason is that we're following semantic versioning. This says that we can't make certain changes until we move to the next major version, certain breaking changes, things like changes to the underlying data model and database schema, updates which would involve breaking changes to APIs and so on. So these will all go in version 2.0 Vendure. And the exciting news is version 2.0 is already in development. You can see the progress so far if you go to the major branch of the Vendure repo. You'll see right now we are 72 commits ahead of master. There are already 2 releases of version 2.0. You can find these on npm under the next tag. The current latest is 2.0.0 next.1, and it will continue with next.2, 3, and so on until the release is ready. When will that be? I cannot make any promises, but I expect it to be ready within the next 6 months or so. But as you know, the usual disclaimers apply with any kind of estimates in software development. But what's it going to contain? So some of the major things that I want to focus on for 2.0 are this. First of all, updates to the major underlying systems. That is Nest.js, GraphQL, Apollo Server, Angular. At the moment, we're pinned on our current versions because updating to the latest versions will involve a series of cascading updates required to other dependencies such as RxJS, which will result in breaking changes to many of you out there. So we just can't do it right now. The current next version, 2.00 Next 1, has actually updated all of those dependencies. So if you want to test out the compatibility and try it, then go and download that right now and see what needs to change. You will no doubt have to make some changes to your custom code. The other thing I want to focus on is marketplace support. So it's turned out in this time that marketplaces is a very sought after requirement with developers who are looking around and finding Vendure. it seems that there aren't many options out there if you want to build a custom marketplace. So people are arriving with Vendure and they're looking into the channels feature, which can support this kind of architecture, but it's not made expressly for this use case. So for that reason, there are some rough edges. There are some areas where you need to do some custom work, build maybe some custom UI or custom GraphQL APIs. For version 2.0, I would like to make Marketplace a first-class use case for Vendure. And I want to hear about the use cases that you want to solve in terms of marketplaces, what the problems are that you're having right now with the current APIs. And there is an issue, which I'll show here. Let's find it. Okay. Here, improved multi-vendor marketplace support. So this issue right here, number 1329. I want to collect together information on use cases, feedback, ideas on implementation, if you have any. And we'll use this to gather this information and figure out an optimal design for this feature. Another thing I want to support is bundle products, where you can take product variants from different places and put them into one item that can be added as a single unit to an order, which is very much needed for certain industries and certain use cases. Another change to the data model I want to make is to support multiple stock locations. So for those businesses that have maybe multiple brick and mortar stores and you want to be able to track the stock in each of those, or just multiple warehouses, then this is something that right now is not supported, but I want to be able to handle that use case in Vendure 2. There are a whole bunch of other things that are planned for Vendure 2. You can take a look at the roadmap to get an idea. This is evolving, so there will be things being added to this as time goes on. But it is in development. I'm using it right now in my own project, and I'm very excited about this. So I'm not sure if this will be the next release. Probably not. There will probably be another one or more minor releases before then with new features. But increasingly more of my attention is going on to version 2 now. So I just wanted to give you an update on the state of things, and that's where we're headed. So thanks for watching. Check out the blog post for more details and enjoy version 1.5. Thank you and see you next time.